Welcome to Blueprints and Buildings podcast. I'm your host, Glen Palmer, and on this show, I interview the movers and shakers in the world of property development and real estate. So, whether you're a developer, an architect, quantity surveyor, or agent, this podcast here is help you to gain the insider insights, avoid those costly mistakes, and stay ahead of a rapidly evolving industry. So this episode is brought to you by an industry-first visualization solution that's changing how property is planned, marketed, and sold. So they work with developers, architects, agents, and planners, helping them bring their 3D visions to life using 3D walkthroughs, digital twins, and fully interactive visual sales suites. So now it's more than just pretty visuals. This technology creates alignment across internal stakeholders, minimizes understandings during the planning stage, and slashes marketing timelines. Instead of waiting for bricks and mortars, buyers can now experience the finished product from anywhere in the world, which means faster pre-sales, stronger engagement, and increased confidence from investors and buyers alike. On average, their clients see cost savings of between 8 and 11% across planning, marketing, and sales. But more importantly, they gain a serious edge in a competitive market. So today's guest brings together real estate expertise, investor savvy, and creative vision in a way that truly stands out. I'm joined by Carmen Queral, a seasoned realtor with Beach One Carmen Real Estate with Beverly Hills and Company, license number 018-60714. She's a real estate investor, a home stager, a project manager, and president of multi homeowner associations. With decades of experience, she's helped clients not only find homes to build wealth through smart strategies, hand-on renovations, and highly personalized approach for each transaction. Born in Cuba and bilingual in Spanish, Carmen's international background, having lived in Mexico City, Madrid, and traveled widely, gives her a rare cultural lens. She integrates with her artistic eye, professional photography training, and green renovation mindset to deliver standout results for first-time buyers, sellers, and savvy investors alike. Carmen's personal motto says it all. Everything is possible in real estate. Carmen, it is an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Welcome aboard. Really good to have you. So let's dive in with the first question. And this is a question I ask all my guests. So if time travel became a reality and you had a chance to go back in time to who you were when you first started your career, what advice would the person you are now tell your younger self?
Hi, Glenn. Thanks for having me.
More than
Um,
welcome.
as- to answer your question, I don't know that I would change much because my thing has always been relationship building. And that's been the key for me, and it still is. I had um, what I guess you call a skill or character that when I started, and it's still my driving force today in making significant friendships and relationships with clients. If you look at some of my testimonials on my LinkedIn and Google profiles and other social media, you see that people who started out as my clients ended up being friends, not just clients. I would just say to my younger self, keep doing what you're doing. You're helping people, and that's important, and it's good, and it's okay. And my focus has always been helping that client the best possible way instead of thinking of how much I could get from a particular transaction. That has also helped me to be a great negotiator for my clients. I have come across realtors that are just thinking of a transaction and don't much care. And I always think to myself, if I wasn't a realtor and wanted to buy a home, and that realtor was the only realtor on earth, I would continue renting. So this
Yeah,
is why I'm different.
yeah.
So
I love that ethos. I love the ethos that you build the relationships. And let's face it, Carmen, people buy from people, don't they? And people that they
yes,
like, trust, and know.
right.
And yeah, I really I agree with those sentiments that yeah, you've got to
And
build that relationship with people and you've got to have that interpersonal relationship and not just, this is a sale, I need to make this sale. yeah, you've got to build that relationship.
Right. And I've developed relationships, and years down the line is when those people actually buy or sell from me.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of, oh, I want to get their, sell. It,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. Yeah.
Have you ever, I know this is a little bit off script, but have you ever had a family member that you saw ages ago when you first started, and then they've introduced you to their family, so they're the children, and said, Carmen bought we bought our first house from Carmen. Why don't you have a look? Has that ever happened? I
Not
happen to know.
family members, but yeah, but acquaintances and friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not family members.
Well, there's always a first.
Well, my family is not here. It's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Yeah.
So, Carmen, you have worn many hats. You're an
Mhm.
investor, you're a stager, you're a HOA president, and you're a seasoned realtor. So, what's the key to consistently helping clients return their real estate goals into long-term wealth strategies?
Well, for me, the common thread to all of my many hats has been a genuine desire to help people realize their goals. For helping investors, I find them as good a deal as if I were getting it for myself. It's listening to people's needs and then searching for the best property value for them to either for investors to fix and flip or fix and lease, or you have to know the value difference in both short and long term so you can then present that to the client.
Yeah,
And you have to care to do that. A lot of people don't care. That's where your
yeah,
knowledge comes into play, especially knowledge of the local markets. And that is something that you have to spend time on and learn more and more and become very familiar with different area statistics and characteristics. And knowing those things applies whether you're helping investors or helping families or single buyers or sellers relocating. It's all very different. And yet you have to spend time and be interested and want to help them and know the situation, because people's needs change as their lives change. And so do their goals. Or, the goal of a single buyer who wants to buy a condo in the city next to restaurants, bars, and fun
mm,
stuff is very different to that of a young family that wants to be in the suburbs in a cul-de-sac so their kids are, safe riding their
yeah,
bikes. So you have to know the difference and care about it. So it's taking the time to care, to listen, and to look for the most perfect property for each person.
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, that harks back again to, building that relationship. Because I mean, me in my 20s, I would
Hmm.
want to be in the city with loads of people, the hustle and bustle.
Right.
Now, I want to be far away from that. I want to be somewhere nice, rural and quiet. And
Right.
it's getting to understand that,
Right. Right.
the different things. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that. And you've seen the real estate market evolve across various cities and cycles. So, where do you see the biggest shifts coming from homes that are bought, sold, and marketed, let's say in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, let's see. I would love to have a crystal ball, but
Yeah,
that's not happening. So I don't know that there are going to be a lot of changes in how homes are bought and sold. We're already buying and selling with Bitcoin, and that's, a big change from years ago. But you're always going to need the human element. It doesn't matter because there was all this talk a few years ago about people are just going to go online and buy and sell their properties and they're not going to need realtors. Well, that doesn't work. You don't get that interest in like me finding the right property for somebody after I've listened to them and I know exactly what they're looking for. You don't have that human person touch. And
yeah,
that's, I think, very needed. Um, I don't know that there will ever not be a need for realtors, no matter what they say, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. As far as marketing, it has really evolved. Is marketing these days has got to be quick to the point and graphic, very graphic. People don't have time or don't want to bother to read long things or look through a lot of stuff. They want something right in their face that's going to get the point across to them and say, this is it. And it's got to grab their attention. So, I don't know how much more. If you throw in a CapCut template, you got it.
Yeah.
So it makes it fun and it's a winner. So how much more can it evolve? I don't know. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see as the technology continues to change. But advertisers are always trying to make more money, so who knows what they'll come up with.
Yeah.
But it helps clients find homes they like and helps you find it for them. Hey, that's good. One thing has to be consistent though. Whatever marketing you do, it has to add value for the client
Yeah.
and what they're looking for. Otherwise, hang it up.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. Yeah, definitely. So, as someone that works in California, how do you navigate the state's well-known challenges? I mean, you were just telling me before we went online about the challenges of and the regulations. So
Mhm.
the difference from the regulations to the inventory pressures, how do you do that while still delivering that standout outcome for your clients?
Well, regulations change all the time. It's nothing new. When I first started, there was like 1/10 the number of forms that we need now. So, and it changes. It's not more or less, it's just evolving like everything else.
Hmm.
But as long as you keep up with the information and what changes are there on each form, because sometimes a form itself has a lot of added pages or changes are made. That just happened last June, a year ago. So, there are forms that are added, some that are taken away. It's when you have no clue that it could be a problem. But if keep up with what's happening, then that's fine. You just have to obey the law. That's all there is to it, you
Yeah.
know. Um, so inventory is less of a challenge these days. There's been a substantial increase in the last few months. So it is still not in the normal market range, but much improved. And that has made it easier for buyers, especially for first-time buyers.
Mm.
We have gone through a very challenging market in the last couple of years. It hasn't been because of regulations, it's been for different factors. I think one of them, in my opinion, is the fact that a lot of people who are thinking of selling their house and actually put it on the market, they still think that they can get quote unquote whatever they want for their house, like it was years ago.
Mm.
And it's not that market. It's really becoming a buyer's market. And they just don't seem to get it. And then you see all these houses sitting on the market for much longer because then they're having to decrease the price and decrease the price. If they had listened to their realtor in the first place, that wouldn't have happened. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
houses are selling. They just, you have to have the right price.
Yeah. And it all harks back to, building this relationship and having trust in the realtor. They've been
Correct.
doing this for years and years and years. They know what they're doing. It's not that they're trying to lower the price or anything. It's just like you say, it's a buyer's market at the moment.
Right.
And it always comes in cycles. In a couple of years, who knows, it might be a seller's market.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I do agree with you there. So you've clearly got a really strong creative side from your photography to your home staging. So how important is it for visual storytelling when it comes to inspiring that buyer confidence, especially in today's digital first market?
Oh, tremendously important. Like I mentioned before, it's a graphic world. Property websites, virtual tours, virtual staging, drone videos, you name it, it's out there already.
Hmm.
And yeah, the more you can up into your marketing, the better it is, and the more that people get an idea of what it's like. My photography and staging experience have really helped me with some clients because, believe it or not, a lot of people don't have a clue as to where even to place furniture.
Yeah.
Not a clue. And others don't know what to do with the rooms. They don't know what to put in them or how to use them. And so visualizing those things comes very easy to me. So I am able to guide them through and help them. Look, you can put the couch here, you can put the bed there,
Yeah.
and that's really helped a lot of people.
Oh, that's really good. That's really good. And so following on from that, so
Hmm.
if there was a way for buyers to actually walk through and emotionally connect with a space before even setting a foot inside, and even during the planning stage, how valued do you think that sales process would be?
Yeah, that's incredibly valuable. That's already happening. And with all those things that we have to market a property, people look online and they already get a very good idea of what that property is like. However, it's not the same as actually going in the property
Mm,
and quote unquote feeling the property. It's been said through the years that the first 15 seconds that you walk into a property,
yeah.
And I see that over and over. And I've experienced that myself in my homes. And, we have all these things to enhancing, like you see on the marketing, virtual staging, property enhanced by, so I've seen the gamut of photography through the years where you go in there and it's like, how do they do this? Because is it fake photography? I mean, this is not the same house that I saw online. So
Yeah.
it's always, you have to go and see the property. But yeah, it's very enticing for people. You see it on everywhere and HGTV shows, but it
Mhm.
has to be true to real life. When you go in there and you see the actual property, you go, oh yeah, or you go, oh my God, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
You know? It's true.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can
Yeah.
imagine. But
And no, it doesn't matter how enticing something enhanced online it looks. If you don't go in there and get an absolute idea in person,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
But doing like I've worked with investors and you see this. We put online a timeline of the property and development from the, you know, planning to the actual, interview with an engineer or the architect and, the city inspectors and all that as it goes along. And you're putting pictures of that's very appealing to some people.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
but again, the market has to do with it. The market dictates.
yeah.
And that's what people need to get, a clue of.
Oh, well, excellent. Yeah. Well, like you say, different strokes for different folks, huh?
Yep.
So that's it. That's a wrap.
Okay.
Huge thanks to my guest Carmen for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show and learning from your experiences and the insights. And of course, thank you to all the listeners as well. So this episode, it was brought to you by next generation property visualization technology, helping developers, agents sell faster, smarter, and more confidence. And if you'd like to learn more, feel free to reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. Carmen, you're also on LinkedIn, I'm sure,
Yes.
and they'll be in the show notes below. So thanks for tuning in to Blueprints to Buildings. I'm your host, Glen Palmer, and I'll see you in the next episode.